All right, all right. What did you guys think of that game? Now, if you're a USC fan and you're watching this, I know you guys didn't like it, especially, the final outcome. I've also heard from a few USC, I don't know why I said UCA, but USC folks that they thought the reffing was pretty, pretty weighted in our direction. But I think there's about 51,444 fans that would disagree with you, who were in the stadium watching hold after hold go uncalled, and seeing an obvious targeting penalty be reversed, and seeing some really weird timing issues that went in favor of USC, and seeing a successful catch that looks like it could have gone for a number of yards after the catch, being stopped in the middle of the play. Come on! Who are the refs favoring? Anyway, we'll get into the analysis of the game, some highlights, there's a lot of them, and all that kind of stuff right after this.
For a first down. Nice. That's the shot I'm talking about. There it is. Over the middle. It's caught. Touchdown. Devon Valet. That's beautiful, man. I'd get Carlson a touch on the block. Carlson from deep, and we're tied.
This is a victory lap of sorts for the super senior.
Ginormous double out.
Okay. Did you go to the game? Did you watch it on TV? Whatever your method of watching that game, that was an amazing game. Holy cow, that was awesome. I tell you, it was not awesome for the full 60 minutes. I was very disappointed, to say the least, with the first quarter and the first part of that second quarter, where we gave up the third touchdown to them, and they went up 21-7. And right then, I was extremely doubtful. I mean, at that point, they had 250-ish, give or take, yards, less than a minute into the second quarter, moving the ball at will against our defense, and I put it in air quotes because it was not anything that resembled any kind of a respectable defense. But I was thinking, okay, USC maybe gets 900 to 1,000 yards on us. Now, I didn't really think they would, because I thought at some point either we would start making some decent plays, or two, they would call the dogs off and show some mercy on us. That didn't need to happen, because we did start moving the ball very well ourselves and scoring. When we went down 28-14, and there wasn't a lot of time on the clock. There was about 1:15, but I thought, with Cam at the helm, I thought that we could, it might not be easy, but I thought we could get a touchdown. And I told my family that I was sitting with, I said, hey, if we can get a touchdown before the half, we get the ball back. And if we get a touchdown then, we're tied. And then it's game on. USC might start questioning themselves, and if we could get a couple of stops next half, because at that point, they'd only scored, they scored technically 2 touchdowns in that quarter. But that first one was, they were knocking on the door from the end of the first quarter, and it was like this first or second play into the second quarter when they scored that third touchdown. So, really, we had done a pretty good job of holding them, not from a penalty standpoint, but just holding them from, keeping them from getting into the end zone and doing any other scoring. Now, So my thought process was I started to have a little bit of hope. We scored a touchdown in about 45 seconds, and it put us at 28-21. And, you know, props. I mean, Cam was amazing that whole game, and props to Kincaid. Holy cow, talk about a breakout game. I mean, that guy, he caught every ball that was, you know, thrown his way. He had, depending on who you listen to, he had 15 targets and 15 catches, or if you listen to a different source, 16 targets and 16 catches. Now, it was my goal to put every single one of his catches in there, but the highlight sources that I have did not have every one of his catches. I believe I've got 12 of them. And when I got to, when I was at catch number 9, the announcer in that highlight said, or right around that highlight said that he had 12 catches at that time, and I was at 9. So they didn't show 3 of them already, and I don't know if there was one more that was left out or not. So I can't confirm whether it was 15 or 16, but it was either 15 for 215 or 17 yards. I can't remember one of those. Or it was 16 for 234 yards, because that's the yardage that was attached to the whoever source says 16. Either way, a big night for Cam, and for Cam too, absolutely, but also for Dalton Kincaid. 15 or 16 catches, either way, 200 plus yards. Not some bad blocking as well. He was pretty good at that, and he always is. He's a well-rounded player, which is why a lot of people think that he is definitely one of the top tight ends in the country. And yeah, if you didn't believe it before this game, you probably should now. He had some amazing catches. He had a toe toucher that was initially ruled out of bounds, and it was clearly a catch. He's got his whole foot down, in fact, on that one. Amazing catches. Lots of great yak run, yards after the catch, and just a great game by him and his compadre Cam, who had. There's also a little bit of squirreliness on those stats. I've seen 29 for 43. With 415 yards, and I've seen 30 for 44 for like 424 yards or something like that. So somewhere in there, either way, that's very close. I'm going with 29 for 43. It's like 68 point something percent completion rate, and you're looking at 415 yards. That's a huge game by any standards. And he had 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. Props to Caleb Williams. He had a great game himself. Not quite as many passing yards, I think 381 or something like that. And his completion percentage, we had him rattled sometimes, and sometimes he missed badly when we got him rattled. But he was 25 for like 42, if I remember correctly. And he was, like I said, 381 yards and 5 touchdown passes. Great game. USC definitely has some amazing wide receivers. And one of the interesting things, a couple of very interesting things. If you watched my preview video for this game, you may remember that I said that they lead the nation in sacks and that Tuipulotu leads the nation in sacks individually. I think they had 24 going into this game. Well, after this game, they still have 24. Our offensive line did a bang-up job of protecting Cam. Props to them. They didn't do so hot in the run game, and that's kind of been the oddity this year, is that our offensive line has not been blocking better with the run game, since historically we're more of a running team, and Witt still likes to kind of rely on the run and control the clock that way. Speaking of controlling the clock, we did have the ball about, I think 3 minutes and 40 seconds more than they did. You also may remember if you watched my preview video that I talked about how close these two teams were statistically. And if you looked at the statistics from this game head to head, you'll see that held true for this game because we had 562 yards of offense. They had 556 yards of offense. There was the score, 43-42. You cannot get any closer than that. And don't tell me you can have a tie, because that is just unacceptable. Ties do not work. I don't like them. You play to win. And that's exactly what Witt did when he called the two-point conversion. And he actually, I don't know, if you haven't watched his post-game interview or his Monday morning press conference, then you may not know that he didn't call that two-point conversion right at that time. He told Ludwig, the offensive coordinator, that if the clock was down with very little time left, like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, somewhere in that range, 45 seconds, give or take, somewhere in that range, that they were going to go for a two-point conversion. Conversely, if there was a couple minutes left when they scored a touchdown, they were going to kick the extra point. Now, my thinking is that Witt looked at that situation and he thought our best chance of winning is to win in regulation with that two-point conversion. Better chance of making the two-point conversion than going into overtime and kind of taking what you can get there. Now, he's probably right on that, but we had stopped USC a couple of times, maybe 3 or 4 times in that second half. They only scored 2 touchdowns that second half, and we got 4 sacks. We got them under pressure, got them under some duress, and because of that, it could have been interesting. I think we might have had a chance. Those short fields are hard to tell, when you start at the 25 in overtime. But I tell you what, I think there was a lot of nervous fans when we saw that we were going for 2, and I was one of them. I think everybody in my family was extremely nervous, but holy cow, did Cam come through. And great team effort, lots of great blocking. Some great individual plays. That catch that Money Parks had, that was beautiful on that 45-yard ish. The stats show 45 yards to Money, and he was like almost in the end zone. That was a great catch. He definitely, if you didn't know that Money was a speed burner, you do now, because he ran by both of those USC defenders. Vele had another nice solid game. Now, it doesn't look nearly as spectacular considering the game that Kincaid had, but Vele did very well, and I would have loved to have seen the play that the refs stopped. I would have, Vele looked like he was gonna split a couple of defenders and go for quite a ways. I would love to have seen exactly how that would have played out, but unfortunately, thanks to the refs, we don't get to see that. So, as it stands, by the way, if you've made it this far, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the like button too. And if you're enjoying the content, please feel free to share this with your friends, your associates. Heck, I don't care, share it with your enemies, but that'd be great if you shared it. And, like and subscribe right down there. So, here's a couple of scenarios. We went out, we're 8-1. We have the tiebreaker over USC and over Oregon because of head-to-head. Because if we win out, we obviously beat Oregon. And they're tough. I'm not saying it's a done deal that we're going to win out, but I'm just saying this is how it is. If UCLA wins out, then that leaves Oregon with 2 losses, 1 to us, 1 to UCLA, and it leaves USC with 2 losses, 1 to us, 1 to UCLA. So that would put us in the championship game down in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium against an undefeated UCLA. And at that point, if they're not in the top 4, they are probably, 5 or 6 at least, I'm thinking. So that would be nice, because then if we beat them in the rematch, who knows where that'll put us, but we'll certainly be knocking on the door to the CFP. I'm not saying we should be in the CFP. It all depends on, a lot of the teams ahead of us, what they do, if some of them falter and whatnot. And it depends on how we look. Is our defense starting to gel and play like a strong, solid defense? Or is it just, hey, we're going to be in a shootout and we're going to win because our offense scores more than you? So that's definitely one scenario. Now, if Oregon beats UCLA and we beat Oregon, of course, we still have the tiebreaker over Oregon, and we have the tiebreaker over USC because we've beaten USC. So then, if UCLA beats USC, UCLA would only have 1 loss, the one to Oregon, and SC would have 2, us and UCLA. They don't play Oregon, so they have it a little easy on that part. So then there would be a 3-way tie with us, Oregon, and UCLA. And that's where it gets a little complicated, and I'm not going to go through all those scenarios, but we would hold the tiebreaker over Oregon, Oregon would hold the tiebreaker over UCLA, and UCLA would hold the tiebreaker over us. There's a bunch of tiebreaker things to go on, so just hope that scenario doesn't happen, because that's no fun. At any rate, let me know what your thoughts were of the game. If you want to comment on the refs, go ahead, but what are your thoughts now about this Utah team? Because, man, our offense showed up and showed out. And I'd love to see what your thoughts are relative to how are we going to do the rest of the season. You think our defense is going to step up and start, really playing the way I think that a lot of us thought it would be playing earlier in the season? Do you think that our offense is going to be able to maintain this high-octane output that we've shown we are capable of? And do you think players like Money Parks and maybe some of the other guys, Munir McClain, who dropped the ball this time, darn it, and maybe Bailey may be getting an expanded role, but especially with people like Money Parks, who had a run for about 10, 11 yards, and he had that great catch. I'd love to see him get more targets. Who do you want to see get more targets or more PT on offense? I'd also still like to see more of Glover, but there's some stuff going on there, because if they play him again, they burn the red shirt. But based on how Tavion's playing right now, it might be worth it to just say, hey, you know what? We're going with you. Let's go. Step it up. We know you're a freshman, but you've got talent. Let's play. So, at any rate, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Again, please like and subscribe. And I'll be back in a couple of days with some other good content. We're going to have, I'm not going to have a preview game this week because we have a bye this week. And hopefully we get our defense a little more on track. Hopefully we get some of our players that are maybe a little banged up healthy. But I had a special opportunity today, and it's all about men's basketball. And in a couple of days, you can expect to hear a little bit of a report from me. I was already high on the team. I think we've got a lot of great young talent. I really like Coach Smith. I like his attitude, and I like what he's doing. And I also like I like all the coaches. I've met them all. I really like Coach Burgess a lot, just because I know him a little bit. Not much, but I know him a little teeny bit. And And I think he's a very good guy. I think he's a solid coach, and I think he's a very good recruiter. And so we're going to have a show talking about my thoughts on the upcoming season for men's basketball, which is right around the corner. And so for now, anticipate that. Let me know all of your thoughts on sports in general as it relates to Utah for the most part. If you stray a little bit, that's okay. But for now, hey, go Utes.